Okay, everybody. So we are back at the Maternal, Infant, and Health Summit, and we're talking all things motherhood and healthcare. But on this panel, we're going to dive deep into what it's like being a black mom, and what we talk everything about healthcare and the unique hardships or the positive experiences rather that we've had being in DC. So I have Brandi, Nyja, and Elise with me, and we're gonna talk about some things. I have some questions for you guys, but if you can tell our audience who you are, just one or two sentences, where can we find you, what do you do? Go ahead, Brandi.
Okay, so my name is Brandi Chantalle. I am a teacher in Montgomery County. I am a mother to a beautiful little girl named Zora, a wife, a believer in Christ, and on social media, my name is Brandi Chantalle. Brandi with an I, Chantalle, Chantalle.
Hey everyone, I'm Nyja Richardson. I'm actually from New Jersey, but glad to be here in the district. I am a mom to a vegan tot named Nolan. He's 4. So I'm a mompreneur, a lifestyle blogger, traveler, all of that. Oh, and you can find me at My Epiphany.
Hi everyone, my name is Elise Peterson. I am a visual artist, a children's book illustrator of How Mamas Love Their Babies, which is the first children's book that depicted a sex worker parent, along with a few other books. And I also started the podcast Cool Moms, which highlights women who prioritize their passions. I'm originally from DC, but I'm now LA based. And you can find me at Elise R. Peterson on Instagram and also at Talk Cool Moms.
Okay, thanks, ladies. So we're going to jump right into it. So we've heard and read the experience of one of the most wealthiest, well-loved moms in the world, Serena Williams, and how she could not get her providers to believe her when she shared that something was wrong during her childbirth experience. So I wanted to ask you, what do you think the biggest healthcare barrier is for black mothers? And it doesn't necessarily have to come from your experience, but just in general, everything that you've heard, read, experienced, what is one thing, and I don't know if you could put it in one sentence, that is the biggest barrier for you? If you want to start, Elise?
I think affordability and accessibility to information is probably the greatest hurdle for black women, regardless of your socioeconomic standing. I know as someone who is self-employed, I didn't have health insurance when I was pregnant. And so learning how can I still get quality health insurance that is affordable, but I wanted a midwife, I wanted to do a home birth, I wanted to try alternative practices, and having to really do a lot of research to figure out what was accessible to me at my economic standing, what healthcare practices were affordable, especially outside of Western medicine. So that was my biggest hurdle, was finding that information and having it be accessible.
Nyja?
I had that same issue as well, just to piggyback off of what she said. I think it is a problem, and sometimes I think that there's a connotation with black women that because we're always labeled as so strong, when we are vulnerable, people question it. People are like, are you really in pain? Like I've been in hospital rooms with a friend, and she was screaming, and the nurse told her that she needs to stop screaming because the pain is not that bad. And it's just like, how are you measuring?
That's when Nuck If You Buck started playing.
Right, and that's a problem. It's like, how are you measuring pain for someone else? So I think that they need to believe us. That needs to be the first. And when we aren't being believed, they need to be held accountable. There needs to be some type of reprimanding or what after it does take place.
Absolutely.
That's actually what I was going to say. I think the biggest problem is disbelief. So this is a conversation we were actually just having in a different place, but I think, as Nyja said, there is this general thought that we don't know our bodies. We don't know what we're feeling. And if we voice it, then the person that we are voicing it to, particularly someone in the medical field, they're inclined to believe themselves over us.
Right.
And so I think that is our issue, is if I say this is what I'm feeling, I don't need you to doctor-splain for me. I need you to take what I'm saying at my word and then respond according to what I'm telling you. I know that when I was having my daughter, directly after I got an epidural, which I had swore I wasn't going to get, but that's not real life. So directly after I got the epidural, they had told me to lay down so that it could flow through me. And no sooner than I laid down, I felt like a shift. And I said, something's happening. There's a bowling ball between my legs. And they were like, no, you know, the epidural's just running its course. And she checked, and I was like, 10 centimeters plus 2. And I was like, yeah, I'm pretty sure I knew when a bowling ball was between my legs. Thanks. And so I think that disbelief, that denying our truth when we're telling it to you is a big barrier. And I feel like that can even overlap into what you were saying regarding affordability and accessibility.
So, Brandi, you actually jumped into our next question. So, Elise and Nyja, if you want to take that, do you have, or Brandi, you can take that as well. Do you have a personal experience? And I know we've all read and heard people's experiences, and sometimes, yes, it's good to share, but I always wonder if there's no results or, you know, something that you can share following these negative experiences. And it doesn't even have to be a negative experience. Maybe if you do have a positive experience and it's because of something that you did or some knowledge that you had, that is an experience that I think that can benefit our viewers watching as well. So did you go through anything? Doesn't have to be big, small, like anything, your healthcare, childbirth experience as a mom or even with your child?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. I was in labor for 3 days. My mom was there. She's here. And I did a home birth for those first like 2.5 days. Where, because it was my vision that I was going to have this water birth and I was going to give birth in my home. I had my friend there who acted as my doula, my mom, my partner, and my midwife. I had an acupuncturist come to my house. I was doing the stretches. I was going to wear all white. It was like that kind of thing. And, but you know, you can't make plans when it comes to what happens with your body. And I just wasn't dilating. And I was really frustrated and really tired. And after 2 days of not sleeping, I was like, okay, I'm ready to go to the hospital. I'm ready to get an epidural. I'm ready to get drugs. Let's get it going. Yeah, let's get this baby out. But because I had prepared so much to have a home birth, I was completely ignorant to what the hospital care system was like. I had no idea what that process was going to be like. I thought I was going to get in, I was going to have the baby, we were going to be good to go. And there was a huge shift once we got to the hospital because a complete loss of control. Now I am a black mom who's not married, who's on Medicaid. And so that's how I was treated, and I was treated that way by people who look like me. And so I was really, really thrown off. It was incredibly stressful. I ended up having an emergency C-section where they left a sponge inside of me and had to cut me open again. And that was kind of like the start to like a series of very unfortunate events in my experience at Bellevue Medical Center in New York. And and from there, even being a black woman and asking questions like, what is this shot that you're waking me up at 2 a.m. to give me? And them saying, well, you have to have it. And them not wanting to ask questions, having someone pull me to the side more than once, concerned that I was in an abusive relationship. Not that there were any signs of abuse, but simply because I had a black partner who was there with me, who was in the hospital with me, who was also treated really poorly as well. So I had a really traumatic experience that I wasn't mentally or emotionally prepared for. And it took, I think when I got home, I felt like I came out of the Twilight Zone. And I never felt like, one, more privileged and more disadvantaged at the same time, because I realized leading up to going to the hospital how much privilege I had and being like, oh, I'm going to go to my acupuncturist, or my acupuncturist is going to come to the house, I'm going to drink this tincture. I'm like, and having control and then completely losing that control and being very aware of how we are treated in these systems, because I avoid these systems at all costs until I couldn't. So yeah, I had a really tense experience, but I think that was the inception for why I wanted to start my podcast. I wanted to have those conversations. I was one of the first of my friends to have a child. And so I just wanted to kind of like figure out how can I disseminate this information and give people a platform to share their experiences as well.
Wow, that. Can you share your blog again?
Yes, so my podcast is Cool Moms. You can find it anywhere you listen to podcasts, Spotify, iTunes. On Instagram, we're Talk Cool Moms. We have, I think, maybe 14 or 15 episodes for season 1. And it's all featuring women who prioritize their passions, who are also mothers. So these are women in positions of power, women who work for themselves, who started their own careers, who, from a varied perspective. So they talk about motherhood and career. And then So yes, and you can find us on Instagram at Talk Cool Moms. We'll be launching season 2 this fall.
Did anybody have an experience they wanted to
We
share?
just gonna let sis share her experience because that was traumatic
Right,
for all
right.
of us.
I can give a small positive.
Yes, positive.
It's really small though,
Please.
and I actually suggested it to my friend who's here. When you are going to be in the hospital now, inversely, I was high risk, blah 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 blah. So I was gearing up to be in the hospital. I brought sweets for my nursing staff, and I feel like it just kind of put them in my favor from the beginning. That does not necessarily mean that they listened to me, but my godmother was there, and she will not be listened to. So there was that. But I do feel like it just inclined them to be nicer or generally warm. And so when people say, what do I put in my bag? I'm like, really, everything you need is there. Bring some candy for the nursing staff. Get them on your side.
Thank you, Card. Okay, so we're here, we're sharing information. You have this amazing summit. What are some, maybe one or two that you can share, great organizations, DC-based organizations that help support Black mothers? I don't know why she's...
This is the founder of an organization known as District Motherhued, for those who don't know, particularly for mothers of color. Why don't you tell us about that? I think that's an obvious plug.
All right. Well, District Motherhued is an organization. We're 12,000 moms strong. We're all about millennial moms of color. We provide social resources, events, economic support, financial support. Yes, you can find us on districtmotherhued.com. What are some other organizations that you guys love that support you?
I'm not from DC, but I'm
Or
always
in the DMV. In there.
Okay, I'm not from the DMV. I live in Jersey, but I'm always Team Planned Parenthood. So definitely Planned Parenthood needs to stick around forever, and we need to start supporting them more too.
I'm also not based in DC. However, I did just get information back there about Smile. And Smile provides social, emotional, and mental health services for families, which I think is incredibly important, period. We all need mental health checkups, so I think they're really great. You guys can check them out back there. And then there's...
There's Mama Toto Village, too, if I'm
Yeah.
saying it correctly. Yeah.
And then there's, is anyone familiar with Chef Lauren Vanderpool?
No.
No. Okay, so Lauren is from DC. She's in DC often. She does work in DC, but she's a vegan, plant-based chef. Yeah, and does a lot of community work. But I think that there's a direct correlation between like what we put in our bodies and then how we feel mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally. So I think that's a great start as well. You can check her out.
Absolutely.
This isn't local, but I just feel like it always needs to be said. Also, therapyforblackgirls.com.
Yes. Therapy for Black girls. Feed Mommy First is another one that helps with nutrition and children. The founder is around here somewhere, Veronica. So I'm going to jump into my last question. How do you think providers can do better by Black mothers? What can they do to provide more inclusive health care?
Believe Black women.
Yeah, believe Black women, listen to Black women. I think that's probably the number one thing. I think we're just not heard in many ways, and I think people don't think that we know what we're talking about when we talk about our bodies, even by other Black women. Yeah.
Even by other Black women. That's real. Okay, well, we want to thank everybody for watching. Thank you, Elise, Nyja, and Brandi. We mentioned some great organizations here that you can find resources. You can also go to dcmaternalhealth.com and learn about these great vendors behind us right here. So if you're here, check them out. If you're not, their links are on the website to check out and get all the support that you need. Thank you.